Good morning. So if you've ever had one of these Super Z's or any of the faster mowers and you tried to ride it down the road from yard to yard, the problem that you get is that there's disweighting of the side of the mower that is on the crown of the road. And then all things being equal, what that causes to happen in a lot of cases is the wheel will sit there and go, all the way down, and it wears out the tire, the bearings, everything. It's not good, and it's not actually even safe, because with that harmonic, you don't have control either. So if you had to do a sudden avoidance, you might be in trouble. I started looking into how to keep it from doing that. The best success I had so far was to add more nylon washers up here and tighten them overly. However, that restricted it in pivoting all the time. So when I was on a lawn, that would give what I call reluctance to rotate, which great for going down the road, but on the lawn, it presented not a huge problem, but net, I like to put as least amount of torque force into my wheels on the surface of the lawn as possible. So for the lawn's sake, right? So then I started experimenting with something else. I put let me show this around here. Okay, so I put a piece of conveyor belt right here and then tucked it into that. Okay, that did not work, and I thought, well, it's because this could pivot or whatever, but I thought that the general flex and reluctance to flex of this material would give it enough to stop it. It didn't, and I thought, well, maybe it's because it can still pivot here. So then I went and added a bracket so that it had, positive situation. It was made to not have that flexibility component, because now you have more points, and it still does it. So it tells me that this material in itself doesn't give enough rigidity to keep it from happening. And then beyond that, what's left? Well, there is electronic brakes off of Jazzy wheelchair motors, but I kind of don't want to go that route. Well, the nice thing about that route is you could have a switch on your handlebar. So in cases upon a lawn, even sometimes you want to not, or even if you're backing off a trailer or whatever, sometimes you would like to come forward, like into, I had one where I came forward into a gravel bed, and it was a slope up, and then there was a pool behind the gravel bed. But in this case, they were fine, and I was fine, and the circumstance was fine with my wheels going up onto the gravel so that the deck could mow that last edge of grass, except for when my wheels went to pivot on that gravel. If I had a way of keeping those front wheels straight to track back down the hill, then I could have eliminated a lot of string trimming. So I call them loosely line locks, where I'd like to lock the front wheels if there was a way. So these things, if could be made to do it, would be cool, because then you have dynamic, right? Because none of these solutions were what I wanted, right? I didn't want to have to get to a lawn and get off to undo those things. But I'm also up against the circumstance. I'm running lithium batteries, and I don't really want to put extra load. I don't know how much amperage these things would draw, but I do know they should be set up for 24 volt. Yeah, they're 24 volt. So my system's not 24 volt, it's 12 volt. So that is another problem. But then also, I don't want to tax these lithiums anymore than I have to. I'm not a big believer anymore in lithium, but I don't want to make big changes right now. So I think that's going to be a no-go. And next thing is just going old school. If I go right here with a little tube, a small tube, and then when the wheel is straight, let's look at on this one because it's already pivoted. The weight's on that one. I can't pivot one-handed. So say you had a small tube right here welded on, and then a hole drilled right here, and you took a metal pin and actually pinned it. Okay. Okay, that might fix it where you don't get the waggle. All right. Because you can't, I know it's the crown and/or condition, but I've got new bearings. I've had it happen in new bearings or whatever, right? So condition, I might have to backtrack on that statement, but either way, because of variances in condition and the road that you can't overcome, you can't just ride down one side of the road that you want to because or down the middle so that you don't have crown effect. That ain't the point and purpose. Yeah, this situation doesn't happen on lawns, so I can go full stick on lawns. It's the hard surfaces are the issue of trying to go truckless in cases where there is some cases where I've got lawns where there's nowhere to park unless you park 5 houses down or a quarter mile down because of whatever. So the whole problem with the final fix that I'm thinking is going to end up being, which is the rudimentary little tube with a pin, is how if and I can go around corners still, because a lot of times I'm trying to go out and cover up to maybe a mile radius of lawns, which if you got the point to point right, you're not traveling the whole mile. You're going to the first lawn, then mowing, and going to the next. So it's not unreasonable to do a mile or even a few miles radius without using the truck or a car or anything, right? You don't need that. And it's a lot safer to not. And if I can slow down, I don't want to slow down. I want to go full stick. But if and when I use just this mower, it's nice to come up on a lawn and you pull the PTO and boom, you're mowing. There ain't no ramp down, there ain't no parking, there ain't coning, there ain't nothing. So that's very nice. I love that. So then the problem becomes, one, on the fix I'm proposing, I'm sorry if I'm going back and forth, is that I have to kind of stop when I get to the lawn to pull the pins up, unless I figure out some kind of cable mechanism. And two, what is this machine going to do when it goes around corners when those front wheels are absolutely fixed? Because unfortunately, to go lawn to lawn on this highway, I won't be just going on the I'll be having to make turns to get through. All right, if you guys have any ideas, please do leave a comment or suggestion. And I wasted my time on these other two things so that you don't have to. All right, you have a good day.